ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च। So today we will summarize the entire Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is part of the Yajurveda, and for those who study Vedanta, Prasthanatrayam means what? Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutram, main texts. And in order to approach those main texts, oftentimes many people are exposed to Prakarana Granthas as a stepping stone, like Shankaracharya's texts, like Bhajagovindam, Nirvana Shatkam, like that. The text need not be easy, but at least popularity is there, so that we have already connected with the text. And so then some people get exposed to that. Then we come to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita again being popular. Everybody wants to study it. And so, given the exposure to Bhagavad Gita, then Upanishads is a natural stepping stone. And among the Upanishads, Kathopanishad. Okay, so when we study these things, I should mention we are studying it along with Shankara Bhaashyam. Even the Bhagavad Gita has to be studied along with the Shankara Bhaashyam. And we are studying the Moolam. But I'm constantly referring to the Bhaashyam. Our Paramathanandaji and Dayanandaji base their talks on the Bhaashyam, their teachings on the Bhaashyam. So we are never away from Shankaracharya. And so then after that, Upanishads. And Upanishads also, sometimes our Acharyas teach the Moolam. Moolam means just the main Upanishad without studying the Bhaashyam or without teaching the Bhaashyam. And that's also, like Bhagavad Gita, it's acceptable. And acceptable because it gives an exposure to the Upanishad, depending on the context. And so, the alternative is we teach the Upanishad along with the Shankara Bhashya. So, with Swami Sadatmanandaji's grace, Swami Pujya Dayanandaji's grace, we were able to start, and we are in the process of completing it. And so it's a big blessing for all of us. And I have never taught the Upanishad before, and so this was my first attempt to do it, and I feel very blessed that I could start, and hopefully today by the end we will complete it. And so let's look at the summary of the Upanishad. So this Upanishad, typically this is how in the ashram they start, because it has a nice story, And also Shankara Bhaashyam is somewhat easier here. It's less involved. All this different darshanas and all, he doesn't talk that much in this Upanishad. So the Purva Paksha Siddhanta is limited here, very little, only to 3, 4 places if you recall. And briefly, he goes out and comes back to the Upanishad. So therefore, it becomes it becomes among the Upanishads, Kathopanishad is easier to study. Like that, the idea is there. So that this Upanishad has 2 adhyayas, and each adhyaya has 3 vallis. So making a total of 6 vallis. So we're looking at the first adhyaya now, 1.1 in fact, Prathama Vallihi, where the Upanishad starts with a story. So you can make a note, 1 to 9 is the story. 1 to 9 is the initial part of the story, where the father, Vajashravas, is doing a yaga. He is doing what is called a Vishwajit Yaga, where he is giving up everything he possesses. He's literally going to go to the streets. Imagine a king going to the streets. And so that's what is happening now. And it seems to be the norm. Nobody's surprised by it in those days. And Yama doesn't indicate anything like, I mean, Upanishad doesn't indicate anything. So it's the norm. And so things happen, and this boy looks at the Dakshina time is coming, and Dakshinas are being given, and suddenly he sees all these old cows being given, and he gets a doubt. This guy knows, the boy knows, Alpadakshinam, Adakshinam, Nishphalam. Means Adakshinam, not giving Dakshina, or Alpadakshinam means giving not enough Dakshina. Then Nishphalam, then the result of the yaga is not obtained. After all the effort and money spent, no, zero result. So this guy seems to know that. And so he's very concerned. He's filled with worry and compassion for the father. And he immediately runs to the father and says, "You please offer me. Offer me." Imagine a child doing that. And so this continues, and father gets angry and says, Mrityave tva dadami. He says that in the 4th mantra. Mrityave tva dadami. I'm going to give you to Mrityu. He must have said something. Gacha, Yamam Pashya, something he must have said. Okay. And so Yamalokam Gacha. There must be some some swear word or something, some sacred swear word, if there is such a thing. So he must have uttered that. So Mrityave tva dadami. And then the boy goes to Yamaloka, and he is waiting there for 3 days because Yama is out of town. Yama comes back, and Yama apologizes to the boy. Namaste astu Brahman. Mantra number 9. Namaste astu Brahman. Hey, Brahmana, I salute you. I do namaskar to you. He does Pada Puja to Nachiketa, small boy. It's not unusual at all. So you go to Veda Patashalas and all, we do namaskar. People, elders come and do namaskar to children. And children, of course, will be watching. They won't say Tatastu, and they won't do all the blessing, and they don't know all that. They're very young. But they'll be just watching. They'll be just watching, and mantras will be chanted. And so they get used to that idea that, Veda is not ordinary. Old people are doing namaskaram to us means something, we are doing something special. They understand. So, so in this section 1 to 9, the values that are conveyed, Shraddha. Shraddha in Vedas, in Vaidika Karma, Shraddha is there. Nachiketa had full Shraddha. And Dakshinam, all these are there. And so Shraddha. Next, Satyam. What happened is, father said, no, I said it just like that, the spur of the moment. So it doesn't, don't take it seriously. And this boy says, what do you mean don't take it seriously? Have you forgotten all your ancestors? Is this the way they talked? Don't take things seriously. You utter things just like that. That is not acceptable. That's what this boy is teaching the father. And so Satyam, the value of Satyam, Vakya Pariparanam is highlighted, number 2. And number 3 is Yama Atiti Pujanam. Yama knows Matridevo Bhava, Pitridevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. Taittiriya Upanishad. So, Yama displays that value. Next, section 10 to 11. Next is two mantras. Okay. And so, by the end of 9, Yama says, Tasmat Prati Trin Varan Vrinishva. Okay, because I kept you waiting for 3 days, you please ask 3 boons. That he said in the ninth mantra. So 10 and 11 is that first boon asked by Nachiketa. Nachiketa is concerned about the father because that's there, weighing on his head, it is there. And so he says, do something, do something. So my father is Shanta Sankalpaha Sumana Yatha Syat. So just like he was happy before, just like that happy father decided to do the yajna, okay, Vishwajit Yaga, like that he should be happy. Like that, that boon was asked. And so here, the value being expressed by Nachiketa or exemplified by Nachiketa is what? Pitru, Pitru Devaha, Pitru, well-being of the father. So again, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. That value is being exemplified by Nachiketa. Then 12 to 19, 12 to 19, that is the, now his concern shifts to people, society. Now father goes to society. There he is asking about how people are, their desire is to go to heaven, but there is no book nowhere that says how to go to heaven. And so Svargaha. So Yetad Dvitiyena Varena Vrane in 13 he asks that. And so that what is it called? Apekshika moksha. Moksha. Going to Swarga is a form of moksha, relative moksha, apekshika moksha. And so within the dharmartha kama, it all comes. Dharmartha kama. It is dharma, punyam. Punyam will give swarga phalam. Called moksha because people don't know better. So there, Yama teaches him the Agni, this particular yaga that has to be done. And on top of that, he taught him the Virat Upasana, namely visualizing if the person is capable of doing an upasanam, a dhyanam on the Agni, visualizing Virat. If the person can visualize Virat, understands Virat first, then visualizes Virat and does dhyanam of Virat, keeping the Agni as the pratika, then that person gets double benefit. That person will not simply go to Swarga, but even Swarga there is gradation. And so the person will go to Brahmaloka straight. So that he learned, he repeated and got it validated by Yama. Yama was so pleased and then gave him further, what do you call that, Srinka, gave a little mala and said, the mala will give you all the things you want, all the material benefits anytime you want it. Beyond what I say, that also. Because you can go, I want to go to a picnic and suddenly you end up in a picnic. Oh, I forgot to get water. Okay, you ask the mala, you want some water, you'll get water. So sometimes you need help, periodically. So here the value. Value is what? Concern for society. So loka sangraham. Okay, unselfishness. So the dharma of a kshatriya, kshatra dharma is there. And so this boy exemplifies that value in these shlokas 12 to 19. Next. Next is a request for Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya. That is number 20 to 29. 20 to 29. And so, the famous Yeyam Prete Vichikitsa Manushye, number 20, is asking that Astityeke Nayam Astiti Chaike. People don't know much about this Atma. It is not there, not it is there, etc. Because different people talk Charvaka onwards, So therefore, he seems to know that. Astityeke Nayam Astityeke. So that means he knows. He knows what people think about Atma. He knows about Atma. Such a thing called Atma exists. But whether it really exists or not, he doesn't know. So he says, teach me that. And then Yama says, no, no, don't worry about it. Devairatrapi vichikitsitam pura. No, no, Devatas also don't know about it. Don't go near this Atma business. Anything other than that, I'll help you with. And so you're asking for something that even the gods, so called, the denizens of various places in this universe outside Earth, they also don't know. And Nachiketa's brilliant response, number 22, and using judo, he's playing judo. He says, did you say, Yama, that even gods don't understand it? Did you say that? Okay, then that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want to know. And not only that, I'm standing before who? I'm standing before Yama. Who is what? Who is the god of death? And so, who better to talk about death than you? Everybody else is a copy. Copy paste, I don't want. I want original. Okay. And so, that wonderful mantra number 22. And Yama goes on, Shatayushaha, etc. He tries to dissuade this boy, checking out this boy. Is he serious or is simply some romantic idea he has about Atma and all that? So, then famous statements. And number 26, Nachiketa says, Shobhavaha. It dismisses everything by saying these are all Shobhavaha. These are all things which will create a doubt in people, anxiety in people. Everything I procure, along with that comes an anxiety that whether this will work tomorrow. You buy a phone, then what will happen tomorrow? If it doesn't work, then it's a problem. So, and then once it blinks, then it starts working. Second time, it blinks two times. Third time, it is taking a little extra time to boot up. Then you know the phone or the thing is just every object is like that. So Shobhavaha, Tavaiva Vaha. You keep your vehicles, you keep your all the music and all you're talking about, you keep it. Okay. Then number 27, Navittena Tarpaniyaha. A human being cannot be satisfied with wealth, no amount of wealth. It's well known, and this guy says that. This boy says it. And then finally, 23, yeah, 23, 24, of course. Kamanam 24, he says, Kamanam Kama Bhajam Karomi. Very famous statement, actually. We quote it periodically. See, you can have stuff, you can have stuff, but I may not be prepared to enjoy it. I may not be capable of enjoying. The body must be capable of enjoying. What is the point? I have deaf ears, all music ears are not good to hear. Then you put all this hearing aids, still you keep saying, sir, no, no music. Music enjoyment out. Eyes are not working properly, then all the beautiful things out. So he says, Kamanam Kama Bhajam Karomi means all the things I'm going to give you, I'll make sure you enjoy it to the fullest. Your capacity to enjoy will always be there. Like that, he says. Anyway, beautiful things. And then Nachiketa dismisses it after that. And so that section, the values that are exemplified by Nachiketa is what? Viveka is there. Atmanatma Viveka is there. And Vairagyam is there. He says, dismisses all these beautiful, all the wealth and kingdom and law, what do you call it? Ayu, lifespan. Okay. Long lifespan he rejects. And and then instead he gives back to Yama, hey, you're going to send me back to India, not India. Okay, India, you can say. And and how you're not going to send me back with a short lifespan. So I'm okay. This guy knows a lot, huh? My God. So, so do all this lifespan and all you keep. Uh, then last value is mumukshutvam, mumukshu, because that moksha he has in mind. So the important mantras in this section are what? You can say 20, 26, and 27. 20, 26, 27. 1.1.20, 26, and 27. Okay, so far so good, everybody. Sounds familiar? Okay. Guruji, what are you talking? That's it, over. Okay, Dvitiya Vallihi. Second Valli. Okay, so now praise for Brahma Vidya. Praise for Brahma Vidya from mantra 1 to mantra 13. 1 to 13. Praise is there. So the story is over. Story is kept aside, and then the teachings will come later. And so here, just talking about Brahma Vidya itself, the whole context is celebrated. That there must be a teacher, there must be a student, there must be something significant to talk about. All that is being mentioned here. So 1.2, 3 and 4, for example, 3 and 4. He praises Nachiketa, praise for the student. Adhikaritum is beginning to praise. Previously, he was checking out Nachiketa, whether this boy is just simply there asking, boys don't know, children don't know all these things. So then he says, Natva Kama Bahavo Lolu Panta. Okay, look at that. Number 4, these kamas, all the things that I gave you, they did not shake you at all. You were not even, for a fraction of a second also, you didn't have a doubt. My God, this one? Like that. No, 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 that's, I think this is a waste, No, no. Alolu Panta. Not even for a second you were attracted by what I gave you. And 9, 10, 11. So like this. Um, yeah, no, 9 is, yeah, 9 also is like that. Okay, now, so 3 and 4. And then we come to Acharya Stuti. He continues. So number 5 also. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. So he says people are wallowing in ignorance and simply punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, maranam. This is how it's going on. And then he praises Brahma Vidya. Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhyaha. This is very, this knowledge that you're asking is indeed very unique and important for the human being. And like that, he talks about Brahma Vidya there. Then from 8 onwards, he's talking about this is Acharya Stuti, Acharya Prashamsa, where he says, the Acharya should be a Shrotriyaha Brahmanishtaha. Two qualities we generally give. Shrotriyaha must know the Shastram, having studied in a Sampradaya. Uh, that's called as Shrotriyaha. Brahmanishtaha, having understood it, simply studying words and memorizing. Like Narada said, I am a mantravit, natu atmavit. Okay. I know all the mantras, everything I know, but I don't know Atma. What is the use of this, right? So that is what is said here. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. Very beautiful word here. Ananya prokte. So the word Ananya, the Acharyas referred to by the word Ananya. One who is not other than Brahma. One who knows that that person is not other than Brahma. I am not teaching about some remote thing called Brahma. It's not remote at all. And so that idea is being mentioned here. 8 and 9. Teacher is being praised. And 10 10. Number 10, Yama says, you know what? I was also a fool and I went around after so many things and knowing that this is all anityam. Artha and Kama is anityam and Dharma also is anityam. I did not realize. And but having seen you, I'm reminded of all my past also. Like that he says in 10. And And then of course it comes back to, of course, number one and two, Shreyas and Prayas. Yeah, we can't just, we can't gloss over these things. And so, Shreyasta Prayasta Manushyamayataha. So he says that. That's a good introduction to us, that what is Shreyas, what is Prayas. Moksha. Shreyas means moksha. Dharma Artha Kama is different. That is, that comes into the Prayas category. All that we learnt in that mantra. And so through 13, Echachutva, Samparigrihya Matyaha, Vrutam Sadma Nachiketasam Manye. Nachiketasam Manye. I consider Nachiketa to be the Uttama Adhikari. Adhikaritvam. Because without Adhikaritvam, teaching can't happen. This is not a story, simply saying something, and everybody can understand stories. You don't need any preparedness. Suppose somebody is telling a story, Ramayana. Who's qualified to listen to Ramayana? Hey, there is no qualification required. It's a story. And so anybody can understand. Children can appreciate it. Adults can appreciate it. But based on the audience, the storyteller can, Panyasakara can adjust what he or she wants to emphasize. And so here he concludes saying, I'm very, very happy. I'm ready to teach. That's the idea here. I can't teach. I'm happy. And he didn't say, I'm ready to teach. I think then 14 onwards, Nachiketa isn't sure whether Yama is going to go on like this. I don't have time. Father is, I have to go back to home. I've been away from home for too long. So he gives this famous statement, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharmat. It's a very important statement. And it is it is a recap of his third mantra, which he mentioned in, what is it? Is it 1120? I think. Hmm. Yeah, 1120. AM Prete was 1120. And until now, there is only general talk about Brahma Vidya, etc. And so now, Nachiketa reminds him, he's clearer about his question. Now he's fine tuning his question and saying, okay, Atma exists, not exists. Okay, chodo. Now I'm going to ask you this question. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharma. What is different from dharma and adharma? Okay. And then what is different from past, present, and future? Time. What is other than time? Anyatra bhavyacha, bhutacha bhavyacha. And krita akritat. What is other than cause and effect? That's it. In one stroke, he asked the question. The question itself is a definition of Atma that we learn from Shankaracharya's commentary. He keeps quoting this Anyatra Dharma in other places. And so, an important mantra there, which which triggers Yama to talk about Brahma Vidya. Yattat pashyasi tadvada. So then he says, Sarve Vedaha Yat Padam Amananti. Number 15. All Vedas indeed talk about this Atma that you have asked about. And that's what Veda is finally meant for. Finally meant for. And so that 13th mantra has a definition of Atma itself. And then from 14 onwards, he talks, Yama is now talking. And 15 to 17, 15, 16, and 17. So that's incidental. There is Omkara Upasana. Omkara Upasana. Okay. So Yetadhevaksharam Brahma, Yetadhevaksharam Param. So that Omkara Upasanam was talked about. Om Ityetat, highlighting Omkara Upasana. That Om is what makes everybody bring us towards Atma. Were it not for Om, we'll be going everywhere else. Like that he's saying. Omkara is such an important thing. But that is incidental. Then from 18 onwards, 18 to 25, 18 to 25, uh, the teaching begins. 18 onwards, it begins. Okay. So, najayate mriyate va vipaschit, a mantra that we've already studied in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna borrows it from here. Nirvikaraha. Najayate mriyate. Asti jayate vardhate viparinapate apakshiyate vinashyati. So that is a growth. Is born and then grows and then declines. That's the life cycle of every living being. And so na jayate vriyate means nirvikaraha. Atma is nirvikaraha, unchanging, does not brook any change. And nayam hanti means what? Atma does not kill. Means what? Atma is akarta. Na hanyate, neither can Atma be affected by anybody, cannot be killed. Means what? Atma is abhokta. These two ideas are already introduced by Yama in those mantras. And and 19 also, same. Nayam hanti na hanyate was repeated by Yama Dharmaraja. And then number 20. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. Yep, the Atma is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. Put it in such a way that you can't make sense out of it. You can't try. You just say that. Don't try to. Naisha Tarkena Matirapane already said that. So now, smaller than smallest, bigger than biggest means what do you make out of? And smaller than smallest means what? Sukshmat Sukshmataram. It's very subtle. Means it is not an object. You can't point to it. And then bigger than the biggest means what? Whatever big object you let tell me. Then Atma is bigger than that also. So that's how we understand it. So Sarva Adhishthanam. Sarva Adhishthanam. Atma is not only the essence of the Jiva, but the essence of the Jagat and essence of Ishvara also. Sarva Adhishthanam. Then I hope I'm reasonable pace. Is it okay? Yeah, okay. 23 and 24. 23 is our famous Nayamatma Pravachanena Labhyaha. So he says, this mind, we are used to appreciating all the Meda Shakti and all the values that define a person in our Lokika, in our life. And so here he's saying some mastery, memory, logic, analysis, ability, all that will not be directly helpful, indirectly helpful. All that is useful, no doubt. But directly, it won't help you to get Atma. Because that Atma is like that. Atman Atma Viveka, that's why they talk a lot about. So that's because this Atma, we already said, as consciousness, it is not a product, it's not a part, product, or property of the body. It is that which enlivens the body, it makes the body what it is. Okay. It is that which is not limited to the boundaries of the body. It is that which survives even after the body passes away. Okay. And this kind of consciousness we are talking about, Atma is of this type. And therefore, 20, 24, 23. Therefore, Durvijnayam, not difficult. I mean, not easy. Not easy to appreciate unless you put your mind to it. And so that was mentioned here. And 23, 24, and 25 also talks about adhikaritvam. Further, adhikaritvam talked about. What is adhikaritvam in 23? Very important. Tasya esha atma Tas Yamaivesha Vrunute Tena Labhya. Who gets this Atma? If you say Meda is not required, Tarka is not possible, and all, you're giving a list of values. I thought they were values, but suddenly you're saying they are of no use. Then what is it useful? Means a person has to choose to know Atma, like that he's saying. Choose to know Atma. So Atma, that is very, because the mind is going to be robbed away by Dharma, Artha, and Kama. No mind is going to appreciate anything other than that. That is why he says, no, you must think about Atma and then you have to make up your mind. Yeah, Dharma, Artha, Kama, even though it's so attractive, it is not the final goal. It cannot be the final goal. Like that, that Mithyatva Nischaya has to be there. Mithyatva Nischaya, what we call it. So here he says, Yamai Vesha Vrunite Tena Labhyaha. Then to that person, Tasya Atma, Tasya Yeshaha Atma Vivrunute. Only to that person, Atma reveals itself. Like that beautifully Yama has stated in mantra number 23. And so 23, 24, 25, Adhikaritvam. And the mantras, important mantras would be number 14, where Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Dharmat, and 18, 19, 20, 25. 18, 19, 20, 25, which reveal the Atma Swarupam, nature of Atma. And then number 23 talks about initiative. Initiative is critical in Atma Vidya. Critical. One has to choose. And once somebody chooses, makes up their mind, even God cannot stop that person. That's what Swamiji would say. Would say, he'd say, Swamiji said, once I remember this, I thought I could change people by teaching Bhagavad Gita. Then I realized, no way. Then people changed me. That is what he said. People changed me. Finally, I got changed. But then if he said, if a person decides to change themselves, even Krishna cannot stop that person. That's how it works. Beautiful. All right. We are now going to the third valley of the first adhyaya. Okay, 1.3. Right. So here, first and second mantra, Ritam Pibantau and Yes Seturijanana. These two mantras. In these mantras, Yama likens the Jiva to be a traveler, like somebody who travels. That's the symbology that is given. And travel, that of course has no beginning. And from 3 to 9, we have we have a very famous analogy. The chariot analogy is given. Even though we see the chariot, and then we see Krishna and Arjuna, we see in many houses, many places, we see that it's a big one. It's because Bhagavad Gita is famous, and it just so happens the context is war, and so just so happens that they're all in the chariot, and so that chariot is there. And but the Ratha Kalpana, this is called Ratha Kalpana, imagery of the chariot. Yeah, it comes here, this in Kathopanishad. And there is another in Mundaka Upanishad. When we study, we will see another imagery is given. So, imagery of an archer, bow and arrow, like that. There is a particular imagery given. So here it is Ratha Kalpana. Okay, so Ratha Kalpana, we know what it is. The body is likened to the chariot. Atmanam. Okay, Shariram Rathamevatu. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. Okay, body is chariot, then who is Atma? Atma is body. No, no. Rathinam, the owner, the person for whom the body is meant to for. That Rathi is the Atma. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi, Shariram Rathamevatu. Buddhim to Sarathim Vidhi. The Buddhi, intellect, the decision making faculty. Know that to be the charioteer, the one who is driving this chariot is that Buddhi. And then Manah Pragraham Evacha, Indriyani Hayan Ahuhu. Manah Pragraham, that those reins that are connecting, that are going from the hands of the charioteer to the horses. That is the mind. That is the mind which connects to the sense organs. Five horses, five sense organs. And then the margas, the horses are looking and then traveling. So those margas are the sense objects. And he says, Atmendriya Mano Yuktam Bhoktetyahur Manishinaha. Manishinaha, wise people say this complex guy, this guy is very complex because so many things are there. It is not one entity. It's the horses are there, my mind is there, and so many, it's a big complex it is. And this guy doesn't know it's a complex. And he says, Atmendriya Mano Yuktam, this whole complex entity, Bhokta iti ahuhu. This guy is an enjoyer, Bhokta. He's become an enjoyer. He's just primed. Sense organs are primed to get all the stimuli and then activate this guy and then make him do. Bhoktritvam is primary. Then Kartritvam comes. All right. So this we've seen before. And so nine, I mean, he gives importance of buddhi and all. He says, Vijnana Saratihi. Yes, to in nine he says, Manah Pragravavan Naraha. Paramapnoti tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. The buddhi has to be proper. In order to reach the Paramam Padam, buddhi is so important, intellect. And then earlier in 7, he has said, Yes to Abhijnanavan Bhavati. Nasa Tatpadam Apnoti. Samsaram Sodhigachadi Gachiti. The person continues to gain samsara. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam Prapnoti. Like that he has said, given importance to that buddhi. Because earlier he had said, Tasya Esha Yamaivesha Yamaivesha Vranute Tena Labhyaha. So Vranute means choosing. I must go after Atma. That means Buddhi. That's a function of the Buddhi. So that he is highlighting here once again. Then 10 to 15. 10 to 15. Uh, you can say Jnana Yoga. So now getting into this Atma Vidya. Getting it. Atma Vidya. Basics. Like what? Like 10 and 11. Indriyebhyah parahyarta. So, talking about slowly dissecting, looking into this ratha and saying, okay, sense object is there, then senses are there. Senses are okay, they're useful to you, but then the mind is superior to the senses. Superior means what? Para means what are the three meanings of para? We know what are the three meanings of para. What are the three meanings? Param. So if they say sense, mind is superior to senses, buddhi is superior to the mind, and then Atma is the most superior. If somebody says, what is the meaning of superior? Hey, Shankara explained it to us. Superior means three things. Sukshmam, subtler. And then number two, more expansive, mahat, mahan, more expansive. Subtler it becomes, the more pervasive it becomes. Sense organs, at least you can locate in all these places. Even subconscious, really you can't locate because it's going inside also. Then mind, pervasive. Suddenly you can't put a location to the mind. Maximum you can say it is in the brain. Okay. Uh, and then, of course, when you come to Atma, mind also, all minds are there. What about your mind? You can locate. All minds are there. How many minds are there? Okay, Hiranya Garbha will come. Some Veshti, you can slowly jump to Samashti, collective, archetype. And so, Panchakosha Viveka. 10 and 11 is what? Panchakosha Viveka. Huh? Without using the word kosha. I don't think he uses kosha here, but that Panchakosha Viveka is talked about. Okay.
The third one is Guruji Pratyagatma Bhutam, no?
A third one I forgot to say. Correct. Mahan and then Pratyagatma Bhuta. Third one. Three I said I stopped with two. So Pratyagatma Bhuta means closer and closer to Atma. It is going towards the nature of Atma, which is Nirgunam. Gunam is there before, but now Nirgunam also. So that is the meaning of para in these words, in these mantras 10 and 11. All right. 12. 12, he says, Drishyate tu agreya buddhya. Don't be discouraged. Just because I've said all these things, Atma is this, is superior, and Sukshmam and all that, don't worry about it. Agreya buddhya. With a buddhi that is now focused on Atma. Agreya. Agreya means what? Front. Agreyas, the so Agreyas, that is in the front. If Atma is in front of me, means if my commitment is to Atma, then I can get it. That's what he said, which is good. And then number 14, a famous mantra comes, Uttishtata Jagrata, made famous by Swami Vivekananda. So it gives a range of sadhanas. Okay. Uttishtata. Shankaracharya gives a beautiful meaning. Prakrishtan Acharyan Upagamya. A. Get up and go after your goal. That's how it is popularly translated. But go seek good teachers. Krishnan Acharyan, he says. Very interesting. Good teachers are there. Don't just go. Just ask for a good teacher. If you ask, the society will give you the answer. And then people around you know, a lot of people know. They don't talk only because you never asked. And so if you ask the right questions, you will get the right answer. And so Prakrishtan Acharya, Upagami, approach good teachers and then what does he say, Shankaracharya? Sarvantaratmanam avagachata. Hey, then that Atma, which is the essence of the whole universe, learn, understand about that and appreciate. Like that, he said that Nibodhata, Kshurasya dhara, Nishita duratyaja, Durgam pataha, tat kavayo vadanti. Exhorting Nachiketa, students in general. Nachiketa need not be exhorted. This is meant for us, everybody else, right? So then 15 is another famous mantra. Ashabdamasparshamaropamabhyayam. It's the only way of defining Atma. There's no other way. So that which does not have any qualities like Shabda, Sparsha, etc. was mentioned in 15. And Shankaracharya quotes this mantra often, so worth remembering. And in that same mantra, last line, Nichaya tan mrityu mukhat pramuchyate. What is the use? What is the point in this Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya and all? That mrityu mukhat pramuchyate. Yama. Yama will be history for that person. Yama is no longer applicable for that person. Like that he said. That's the Jnana Phalam. Then 16 and 17 is Phalashruti. Phalashruti. So praise again of this Brahma Vidya. So Jivan Muktihi. Jivan Muktihi means liberated while alive, while leading the human life. Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. Later on, Shankara will say that in Vivekachudamani or somewhere, I forget. Durlabham Traime Vaitat also is there. So, this human body is supposed to be very unique. And so, unique. And so, unique means for what? For this moksha, that only the human being can have the opportunity. The window of opportunity is open for the human being. Use that opportunity. Okay. So, that is talked about. Shukla Gati Brahmaloke Mahiyate, he says. So in number 16, he says that. And so Brahmaloke means if I miss this, but I end up in Brahmaloka, okay, then there is another chance for moksha. Okay, so this completes the first stage of teaching. And here the mantras, important mantras should be 10, 11, 14, and 15. 10, 11, 14, 15. So that completes the first adhyaya, 3 vallis of the first adhyaya. Now we are entering the second adhyaya, second chapter. Okay, of course, here Brahma Vidya is primary. And let's see here 2.1, first two mantras, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Adhikaritvam. Adhikaritvam. Prerequisites, once again, qualities of a student. Swami would always say, Vedanta is easy, but Adhikaritvam is the one that's pulling us back. So, Vivekam, Vairagyam, Mumukshutvam, Samadhamadi, etc. That's why Krishna talks about values, Amanitvam, Madambitvam, etc. So, that Adhikaritvam again highlighted here. Paranchikani, then Kaschid Dhiraha, Pratyagatmanam Aikshat, Avritta Chakshuhu, Avritta Chakshuhu, with eyes turned inward, means with a vision, the commitment towards Atma. That is the meaning of eyes turned inwards. So those famous turning inward and all comes from this mantra only. Correct? Eyes turned inward. Turning inward. So, and here number 1, Dhamma is highlighted. Paranchikani, sense organs are turned outward, means watch out. They are going to keep turning outward. There is no question. Sense organs will always be sense organs. And therefore, Dhamma, practice the value of Dhamma, mastery of those sense organs. Okay? And including Shama also, because mind has to be used. So Shama also can be brought in. And then number 2, mantra number 2, Parachah kaman anuyanti balaha atha dhiraha amritatvam viditva dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. So Viveka. Hey, they don't seek permanence, dhruvam. Adhruveshu, in impermanent objects, then they won't seek permanence. Permanent objects are useful for whatever impermanent stuff I need. But definitely permanence I can't get from that. That is why Viveka is highlighted there. Mrityoho yanti vitatasya pasham. That's another pramanam for us for punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So that pramanam is there. Another place we'll see that it's going to come. All right. So mantras, then mantras 3 to 13 is another separate section. Again, Atma Swarupa is described, elucidated here. Atma Swarupa Vardhanam. And the Atma, which in English we say consciousness, okay? And it is Nirgunam, but it seems to manifest, and all manifestations are all Sagunam. Okay, it seems to have all kinds of qualities, and I don't know what quality it has finally, because it's all lot of qualities are there. Okay, so it's an appearance. Appearance of qualities does not mean Atma has those kinds of qualities. Okay, and so here that Samashti is being talked about here. See, number 4, Thampada is mentioned. Jivatma, Swapnantam, Jagritantam. So that refers to Jivatma. Thampadarthaha is talked about. Then next mantra number 5, Jiveshwara Aikyam is talked about. Both Tat and Tvam and the equality between Tat and Tvam also is talked about.
Guruji,
Okay.
repeat 4 once again. Tat.
4 is Tvam. 4 is Jiva. You is talked about at 4. You. Tvam. Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam is talked about at 4. And number 5, the Tattvam Asi is indicated. Tat Tvam Asi is indicated. So we discussed this last time. Yaha imam madvadam Veda. So the one who knows that Tatpada, Atmanam, Jivam, Jiva is that Tsampada, Antikat, clearly, Ishanam, Tat, Ishanam is Tat, Bhutabhavyasya Ishanam, Natatu Vijugupsate. Such a person who knows this grand equation, okay, will not seek to protect oneself. Natato Vijugupsate. Interesting way in which Yama puts that. Alam. And then 6, 7, and 9. Hiranyagarbha Ishvaraha. Okay. Hiranyagarbha was mentioned. 8. Virat Ishvaraha. Samashti Sthula Sharirabhimani. Samashti Shukshma Sharirabhimani. So a lot of understanding is required. Vidya. That's why it's beautiful also. Because it's all understanding all the way. All the way. Okay, so 6, 7, 9, Hiranyagarbha Ishvaraha. And then 8 is Virat Ishvaraha. Then again, Jiveshwara Aikyam talked about from 10 onwards. Okay, beautiful mantra. Yadeva iha tadamutra. Yadeva iha tadamutra. Iha means here. Amutra means there. Whatever is here is there. This is Mahavakyam. It means Jiva and Ishvara are identical. That is the meaning. You can look around and you won't find anything other than Brahma. That is what he's saying here. Yadeva tadanu iha. Tadamutra tadanu iha. Yadamutra tadanu iha. Okay, what about that? Okay, if you go there, that same thing will be here also. Just making sure you understand that A is B, B is A. Like that, he said that. All right. Yeah, iha nana iva pashyati. One who insists on seeing differences, that person, Mrityoho Samrityum Apnoti, in that mantra number 10. Again in 11, Mrityoho Samrityum Gacchati. This is a pramanam for us. Pramanam for this so-called transmigration. Okay? Punarjanma. Pramanam is right there. Yeah, here Nana Iva Pashyati. So it's a ninda. It's a ninda of a person who insists on taking Veda as primary. Differences. Differences. The life is great. Why? Because of variety, right? Life is great because of variety. We don't deny that. Nothing wrong with that. But is that paramarthikam or not? This is my question. All right. And 11, another important part is mentioned. That first line, Manasa eva idam aptavyam. Because everywhere, other mantras also said it is so subtle and all we already said. Such a subtle thing, how can this mind work on that? You can't know Atma. Atma is not an object. Everything I was said. Kathopanishad is going to say, by mind cannot access Atma. Taittiriya Upanishad says the same thing. It says, Yatho vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. Atma. Words, you can use words, but words will just bounce. Just bounce back, it seems. Yatho vacho nivartante. Aprapya manasa saha. Neither mind says, I'm very smart, I'm going to catch the ball. We like this. They catch the ball and all. Mind cannot catch any of this. But then here, Yama says, don't worry. Manasa eva idam aptavyam. Whatever I'm going to say, you have to understand properly. Okay, that is understanding is mind only, buddhi only. So that's a very important mantra for us. Therefore, and then this Angushta Matra Purushaha is coming in mantras 12 and 13. And an imagery again about how this Purusha, Atma is referred to by the word Purusha, and Purusha is like the thumb. Like the thumb. And so that thumb is very important in our culture to symbolize that Atma. That's why all this Chin Mudra and all is there. And so Atma, so Ishvara and Jiva. Jiva is this finger. This pointing finger is the Jiva. And Tam is the Ishvara, the Jiveshwara Aikyam. Jiveshwara. So that is Ishvara, Tam. And so here also that Angushta Matra Purusha. Maybe this idea comes from here. I have not seen it anywhere else. I don't remember seeing it anywhere else. So the thumb idea comes here. Ishanam Bhutabhavyasya na tato vijugupsate. Right. So then mantra number 14 and 15 concludes this particular Valli. And here another imagery is given about this water flowing down a hill. Just like it rains and then water flows down a hill. And then as it flows down, the bottom of the hill is bigger than the top of the hill, right? So therefore, the water separates out, splinters, fragments, and then disappears. Okay, and so they say like that a person who evam dharman pratak pasyan, a person who insists on Dvaita, is going to be like a Dvaiti and will get lost. Like that, he says here, Taneva anuvidhati, anuvidhavati. And then the opposite example is given. The rivers joining into the ocean, into merging into one big Atma, water Atma. That example is given in that 15th mantra. Yatha udakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrigeva bhavati. Like that. Imagery. These are all imageries. एवं मुनेः विजानतः आत्मा भवति गौतम. So, Advaita Darshana Phalam, you can say. Advaita Jnana Phalam. All right. That concludes this one. And important mantras, if you want to note, 10, 11, and 12. Starting from Yadeva. Yadeva Iha Tadamutra. Yadamutra Tadanu Iha. 10, 11, and 12 are important mantras. We quote it quite often. Next. 2.2. Second Valli of the second Adhyaya. First section is mantras 1 to 7. 1 to 7. Previously, the Samashti was talked about. Now the Vyashti is talked about. Vyashti means Jiva. Okay? Microcosm, if you want to translate it. And so from the Atma, from the point of view of the Jiva is talked about. And Atma is that which lends sentiency. When somebody says, I am living, I am living. Somebody says, I am sentient, I am conscious. If somebody says, that consciousness is what Atma is, and it lends the consciousness to everything that comes in contact with it. So Atma lends consciousness to Manaha. Manaha lends consciousness to Indriyas. And the whole body is now a conscious body. Conscious. Alive and kicking, they say. Alive and kicking. That is what Atma does that. And so, if you look at mantra number 5, na pranena na panena martyaha jivati kaschana. Suddenly he throws he says, do you think it is your prana? Some lungs are the ones that are giving you life. No, lungs don't give you life. It appears to you like lungs are important, heart is important. Yeah, for this body it may be important, but even the lungs and the heart, they need Atma. Existence of heart itself is depending on the existence of Atma. So where is the question? Once existence is granted, then you can have all kinds of fun, but you don't ignore that Atma. Like that it was said. So prana seems independent, but no, prana is not independent. It is dependent on Atma. Like that. Number 5, Yama had mentioned. And then Then there is one mantra here. Where is it? Puram Ekadasha Dwaram. Yeah, that is number one. Number one I missed. Puram Ekadasha Dwaram. So this Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. We saw that in Bhagavad Gita. So here he talks about Ekadasha Dwaram. 11 gated body. Puram is talked about. And so a Jiva mentioned here. And same mantra, there is a beautiful phrase. Vimuktascha vimukchyate. Vimuktascha vimukchyate. We quote this mantra. In the sannyasi community, it is sometimes quoted to when a sannyasi gains samadhi, we quote that mantra. Vimuktascha vimukchyate. Like that we say. Means what? The person is a jivan muktaha. Vimuktaha means jivan muktaha. Jivan muktaha son. Then afterwards, he or she will not gain a body again. That is the literal meaning of this. Vimuktaha vimuchyate. Good. So that is that section. And then 8 to 15 is the next section. Starting from Yesha, Yesha Supteshu. Now Atma, from the point of view of Samashti. Samashti is going to talk about Agni, Vayu and all that. So Samashti. And because the wave is listening to Atma Vidya. The wave has to be told. You think you are a wave. You have a particular form. Yes, I have a particular form. You have a unique identity. You have a unique personality. Yeah, that's who you are. That's what you're thinking. Okay, let's go one step. Wave, you are nothing but water. The entire every molecule of your body is water only. Like that, the wave has to be told, and the wave begins to appreciate that. Then Then the wave says, "Oh, so nice to hear all these things. I'm wave, but water will get destroyed. What happens? Hey, water cannot get destroyed because here also it is water. Outside you also is water only. Oh, outside also is water. Yes, look around, just see. Other waves are there. They are not waves. No, they are like you. If you say you are water, then that wave also is water. Then you have to take the wave all the way to God. You've been wanting to go and see God, right? Hey, everything is water. You are there in the ocean, in fact. You are there in the ocean. So therefore, you don't need to go and meet ocean. The fact that you have recognized your water means you have already met Ishvara. There's no need to go somewhere to meet Ishvara. Therefore, that's the idea of the Jiveshwara Aikyam idea is that. And here, that Samashti Drishti is mentioned here. If you look at 9 and 10 here, Agnihi, number 9, and Vayuhu, number 10. Two examples are quoted here. That this Agni is not some finite thing somewhere. Okay, the Agni is there only in the gas stove there. Agni is there only in this fire, in this lamp. Not like that. That's what it appears to you. But that Agni Tattvam is there everywhere. Agni Tattvam is everywhere. What about sun? Sun also Agni Tattvam is there. What about outside the sun? Agni Tattvam is there. Okay. So how do you know Agni is there outside the sun? You just have to stand outside. You come to India, if you're not sure. And in the summer, I'll take you. Anywhere, I'll take you what? You just come to India in summer. Any place is enough. It's your choice. You can choose the whole India, anywhere you can go. And then stand outside in the sun in the middle of the day. Then you will know. Oh, Agni Tattvam is there everywhere. And so this Chaitanyam is like that. Sarva Vyapaka Chaitanyam. That Chaitanyam also, all pervasive, not limited to your body alone. And they give the example of red hot balls. Red hot. It's, Nirita. I don't think it's here. Mohaha, it's not here, I think. I'm not sure. I gave this. Okay. So, Sarva Adhishtanatvat Chaitanyam Sarva Vyapakaha. All right. Then, number 11. Number 11 is Suryo Yatha Sarva Lokasya Chakshuhu. Na lipyate. Na lipyate. Beautiful. Asangatvam of Atma is mentioned. Na lipyate. It doesn't stick to anything. Atma doesn't stick to anything. Even though it is the cause of every object in this universe. Okay. Still it doesn't stick. It is like it is like it is like Vishnu, just sustaining the world, but then away from the world also. Sahasrashirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sahasrashirsha Purusha. There another imagery is given in Purusha Suktam. This Purusha has 1,000 heads. Sahasrashirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. 1,000 parts are there. 1,000 eyes. Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. Path means feet. And 1,000 feet also are there. Okay, if you are disturbed by 1,000 feet, okay, 2,000 feet you can say. 1,000 pairs of feet, okay. Sahasrapad, Sabhumim, Vishvato, Vritya, Vitva. Okay, having created this world, Adyatishta Dashangulam. But then having created this Dashangulam, 10 fingers, 10 finger width. How wide can 10 finger width be? This is how it is. This Atma is, Purusha is staying 10 finger widths away from this world. Created the world, but staying just a little away. Means what? Asangaha, Atma Asangaha. Same thing here also. Na lipyate, Atma Asangaha. By all this Chakshushaihi, Bhakya Doshaihi and all. Atma is Atma, never changing, unchanging, and therefore Asangaha also. And then that Asangatvam also mentioned in 9 and 10, by the way, by one word at the end of the mantra, by his cha, it says. By his that bahihi means asangatvam mentioned. So you can say 9, 10, and 11 talk about asangatvam. And then 12. Ekam rupam bahuda yah karoti. So that ekameva advitiyam, that ekam is mentioned, is in number 12. And then of course, Jnana Phalam also is mentioned. Tesham Sukham Shashvatam Na Iteresham. Those who recognize that Advitiya Atma, Advitiya Eka Atma, that those people are freed. Sukham Shashvatam Sukham. Then what? Number 13. Atma Nityaha. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Chetanas Chetananam we have already seen. Hey, our body is conscious. There are a lot of conscious beings I see. Even tree is conscious. Touch me not. You can literally see the tree, the plant responding to you. So it's very, very amazing. It is. Birds are conscious. But he says, Chetanaha Chetanana. Some of the consciousness of all these conscious beings is Atma. And then Nityaha Anityaha. Anitya Vastu is supported by Nitya Vastu. For Anitya Vastus to exist, there must be existence of that Nitya Vastu Brahma. That existence belongs to Atma. Like that. That Nityatvam was indicated in number 13. And then again, Tesham Shantihi Shashtvati Na Itaresham. Like that. Yama keeps saying, you have to know this. The person who knows this gains that moksha. Then 14, 15. 15 is a nice mantra. Na tatra suryo bhati. Na chandra tarakam. So another mantra that is famous in our puja and all, we say that. And it talks about the self-luminous Atma. Swaprakashaha Atma. aware. When I say I am aware, that awareness is always there. The awareness will never deplete. That awareness comes from Atma. Atma is awareness, Swaprakashaha. And therefore it is able to give that prakasha to others. Body is conscious means what? It is able to give its own consciousness to the body as though gives like that. And so, na tatra suryo bhati. So all these lights that you talk about, hey, there's the real light is Atma's light. And so that was mentioned here. Okay. So important mantras you can say number 1 and number 15. If you want to memorize those two mantras, you can memorize. So somebody asked in class, not here, maybe Gita class, can you tell us some shlokas and mantras that we can memorize? So these are all these important mantras can be memorized. Maybe if we get a chance, we will chant the entire Kathopanishad, if possible. We'll find an opportunity to do that. All right. Now we are coming to the last valley of the second adhyaya, 2.3. So 1 to 3, Urdhva Mulaha onwards till 3, Bhayad. Urdhva Mulaha talks about Upadana Karanam of Brahma, and that Karanam, which is really not visible to you. That's why he's talking about this inverted tree. Very, very strange way of telling. Inverted tree whose roots are up. Because down means you can see the roots. So they put the roots on top. And so then you can't figure out the roots. Like that it was said in that first mantra, Upadana Karanam, which of course Krishna borrows in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then number 2 and 3, very interesting mantra. Look at this. 3, look at this. Bhayad asya agnihi tapati. Bhayad tapati suryaha. A, fire burns. Fire heats up. Sun burns. Sun heats up. Okay. How come the sun is like that? Fire is like that? Because of fear. Because of fear. Fear of whom? Fear of Atma only. So like that kind of imagery is given. And second also is that Yadidan kincha jagat sarvam pranaha yejati nisritam. Prana does its job. Everybody does their job. All sense organs are doing their jobs. And Panchapranaha do their job. Fortunately. Otherwise, we'll have to sit and monitor. You have to do this, go there, today you have to do everything. All kinds of monitoring has to be done, which is impossible. And so, Mahad Bayam Vajram Udyatam. It is like the people who are afraid of the guy who's holding a big sword in his hand and then commanding all the people. Like that. Like that. So that indicates what 2 and 3 indicates nimitta karanatvam of Atma. Nimitta karanatvam, efficient cause. The creator, if you want to say that. Then number 4 to 13 is another section. 4 to 13. 4 and 5. Greatness of human birth. Said in very different words. Okay. It is saying Ihached Ashakat Bodhu. The human body is the best upadhi to learn Brahma Vidya. If you give this up, Ashakat Bodhum Prak Sharirasya Visramsasaha. Then we don't know. Then we don't know what's going to happen. Because Gahana Karmano Gatihi Krishna had said. And so what is going to happen after this human birth, we don't know. So Tataha Sargeshu Lokeshu Shariratvaya Kalpate. Sargeshu Lokeshu. Anywhere in this universe, anywhere we can be born like that, Yama is telling. And same thing. Number 5 also, same thing. 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, and 8, he's talking about this Lakshyartha Jnanam. Means the fact of what Atma is. Nirguna Atma Jnanam. And so Lakshyartha. So whenever you talk about two things being equal. Jiva and Ishvara are identical if you say. Jiva and Ishvara are obviously not identical. Jiva is Jiva, Ishvara is Ishvara. So how can you say these two are identical? Well, identical means Tattvamasi is such a statement. Any equation is, you have to dig into it. You have to really look into what exactly is equal. 2 plus 3 is equal to 9 minus 4 means what? It's for a child, it's just two different things, different numbers. Plus minus also is different. But it's an equation. There is an equal to sign here. I mean, so that means there is something to be understood. Lot of study is needed before a child says, yes, absolutely true. 2 plus 3 is equal to 9 minus 4, like that. Same thing here also. 6, 7, and 8. Lakshyartha jnanam is talked about. Indriyebhyaha param manaha manasas sattvam uttamam. Sattvat adhi mahan atma mahataha avyaktam uttamam avyaktattu parah purushaha. Similar to the Panchakosha that we talked about earlier. But here, Atma is distinct from the five sense organs. Atma is distinct from the mind. Atma is distinct from the buddhi, etc. Is talked about. So 6 is said in cryptic form, and 7 and 8 is an elaboration of 6. All right. Because Vachyartha is what? Vachyartha is you are the wave. Lakshyartha is your water. That is Lakshyartha. Implied meaning. In fact, we don't even say consciousness. We say implied meaning of the word consciousness to refer to Atma. Why? Because consciousness is a word, and it's a word after all. So what happens in your head when the word consciousness is uttered? That is Atma. Like that, some beautiful ideas are mentioned in the Shastra. So 9 and 11. Okay. So this yoga abhyasa was talked about. Yoga abhyasa, nididhyasanam. So chitta ekagrata, the focus, the requirement, the need for the mind to focus, gain that ability to focus was talked about in 9 and 11. And samadhi abhyasa rupa nididhyasanam. So there only I think, yeah, 11. Tam yogam iti manyante. It's called yoga. It is called nididhyasana yoga, samadhi abhyasa yoga. So that abhyasa Yama does talk about sthiram indriya dharana. Hey, it is something where you withdraw yourself from the sense organs for some time. The mind also is running amok. So just quieten down. Quieten down. Then Atma will reveal itself. Tasya yesha Atma vivradute tanum swam. We saw earlier. Then number 12. Asti iti bruvataha. Astikya buddhi must be there. Shraddha must be there. So that Guru Shastra Vakyeshu Vishwasaha talked about by Tattvabodhakara must be there. So Astiti Bruvataha Anyatra Katham Tad Upalabhyate. Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam. Sri Krishna. I think 4th chapter. So that is mentioned here. Anyatra Tad Katham. Yama is asking, if you don't have Shraddha, how can you understand Atma? Like that is asking. How can anybody? Because of its subtle nature. All right. Then next section is mantras 14 to 18. So jnana phalam. So amritaha bhavati. Jnana phalam. Yatra brahma samashtute. Okay, so look at this one. Hridaya Granthi. Yeah, so he brings in this Hridaya Granthi in the 15th shloka. Yada sarve pravidyante hridayasya iha grantayaha. So one way of mentioning this jnana phalam is this granthi nashaha, okay, or avidya adhyasa nashaha. Adhyasa, once that adhyasa, which is caused by avidya. So avidya nashaha is the way to put it. Avidya nashaha, adhyasa nashaha. So once the avidya is gone, then I no longer project anityam on nityam or nityam on anityam. Thinking an anitya vastu as nityam is wrong. Okay? Or projecting anityam on nityam. What is nityam Brahma? I project anityam and then latch on to anitya vastu. So both. So that is called adhyasaha. And so avidya nashaha, adhyasa nashaha, and sarva kama nashaha. That is there in again that mantra number 14. Yada sarve pramuchyante kamaha ye asya hridi shritaha. Okay. Sarve kamaha pramuchyante. All kamas, all desires are gone. A desire to be something, be somebody, etc. is gone, completely gone. Okay. So all binding desires are gone. And then Brahma Prapti is of course there here. Angushta Matra Purushaha comes again on number 17. Dhairyena. So I talked about that munja grass, how you should carefully study this properly and don't rush into this. Don't condemn yourself. Atmanam. What is that? Uddhared Atmanatmanam, Natmanam Avasadayet. Why? Because of this munja grass, like it is carefully, it has to be done. Therefore, take the time. Okay. And so Brahmaptaptaha, number 18, I'm looking at Stutihi, Upasamhara, Virajaha Abhut, Vimrutyuhu, Anyaha Api Evam Yo, Vidadhi, Vidadhyatmameva, Vid Adhyatmameva. So this teaching is like that. It's universal. That's why often people say Hinduism is for everybody and all. And the other people get upset when they say that. Who are you to they say Christianity is for everybody. Okay, that they can say. But if I say Hinduism is for everybody, they get upset. Why? I don't understand this. A lot of things I don't understand. This is one of those things. But this is jnanam. Jnanam is a fact. It is Ishvara Srishti. Jiva has no role to play at all. Maximum role to play is you teach me what that is. Sishyasteham shadit mam tvam prapannam. That is the maximum Jiva Srishti. And so, Uddharedatmanam. So there he says, Vidyam etam yoga vidam cha kritsnam. Brahma Vidya was talked about, Yoga Shastram was talked about, like in Bhagavad Gita. And then what happens? Virajaha, Brahma Praptaha. Brahma Praptaha. How do I know I'm a Brahma Praptaha? I have to write an exam somewhere. No, you don't have to write. This is the only subject where an exam is not required. Although some institutions do conduct exams, I heard. But still, in our institution, we do not. We have decided not to conduct exams. And occasionally we invite people to talk, say a few words. That's all we do. And so how can you do that? Well, we can do that because this is meant for each one of us. And our commitment will take us all the way through, no doubt about that. And so that will happen, Brahma Praptaha. And anybody else other than Nachiketa also will gain this knowledge. Like that, Yama had said, or maybe you can say Upanishad says that, because here he says Mrityu Proktam in the last mantra 18. So we should say Upanishad Uvacha. Like that, we should say. With that, the Kathopanishad concludes, and an important mantra here is first mantra. Urdhva Moolam Avakshakaha is good. And yeah, the many mantras are there. We don't quote some of these mantras. So many mantras, I mean, it is very awkward to say something is an important mantra. What we mean is, we don't say others are not important. What we mean is, if you want to remember 1 out of 10, then you remember this mantra. That is what we mean. Because memorizing the entire Kathopanishad, even if you memorize it, still when you are teaching it, you have to quote some mantras. You have to bring some certain things. So, in that context, one mantra, two mantras like that. So, Urdhamolo Vakshakaha is an important. All right. So, with that, we come to a close and of this Kathopanishad, where we studied Adi Shankaracharya's commentary of Kathopanishad, and it's our first study into the Shastram through the Bhaashyam. And I hope all of you got an idea of this study, what it means to study the Shastram. That is, that it gives us that idea. We start with small panchakams and ashtakams and so forth, and then we chant bigger mantras and shlokas we chant, then Vishnu Sahasranamam, like that we chant. And now we're entering into a world where Bhagavad Gita we've studied and we've been chanting and learning that. And then Upanishad, there is something called Upanishad, which is part of the Veda. So Shruti, this is a Shruti Grantha it is. And Bhagavad Gita is Smriti. And so how to study Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, also we learned by looking into Shankaracharya, how he explains all these words, which are cryptic. It is impossible to study Upanishad. Really, at least Bhagavad Gita, somehow they can manage, I think. I don't know, I cannot manage. But somehow people might manage to teach without studying Bhaashyam. But Upanishad is chance illa, because all word chandas and all is there and you can't figure it out. Like last mantra also, right? Anyaha api evam yo vid adhyatma veva. You try look into the dictionary and all, you'll get lost because it is chandas. Evam with is one word. Evam is in one part and with is in another part. So you can't figure it out. That is just one example. But otherwise also, these words are all sometimes allegorical, sometimes it is loaded, and we need our acharyas to help unfold this. So I feel very grateful and thankful and blessed that I was able to learn it from Swami Sadatmananda ji and Swami Dayananda ji. I had listened to Kathopanishad Moolam by Swamiji Dayananda ji long ago, 97, 98, I learned. And then only after I went to the course, joined the course, I studied the Bhaashyam. So it brings good memories to me, and I hope it will bring good memories to you also. And so with that, we'll conclude with the prayer. And what we'll do is next session is open to all of you. You can say whatever you want, your feelings, your thoughts, what you learned, your thoughts on the course. You can even say what can be done to improve the the course quality. Even that you can say. I'm open to that as well. Because a teacher, there is no such thing called a good teacher. A teacher can always become better. Always, always become better. And so, because the person is unaware of the defects that are there. We are unaware of our defects. We are good at pointing out the defects of others, but ourselves we are not aware. And so, always improvement is possible. So, happy to hear such suggestions as well in the next session. So, which I don't know. I think it will be next week, but I'm not sure. I was thinking of going to Sabarimala, but my mother is not that well, keeping well. So, I'm not sure about next week. So we'll most likely meet next week. We'll pray for that. Anything else, you please ask me during satsang. Om Apadamapahartaram दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ. Yeah, what I forgot to say is that it's not compulsory that you must speak. If you are not comfortable speaking, you don't have to speak. Those who feel like talking can talk. That's what I mean. Yeah. Thank you.